Hey, welcome back. So yesterday I talked about how I kind of hated that note that I did, but I actually don't have too many other notes. Like the other thing I could talk about is Afghanistan, and then Anna Karenina a little bit maybe. So I'm gonna maybe talk about a third note about like anxiety and therapy and stuff. I'm just gonna try to do it. I remember this guy. I have one heart. That's not good. You have to hit his tail. I should just die. Yeah. What was the note? Well, it's kind of about that. That's kind of a dumb note, but like, it does feel like. So I did the fantasy football thing on Sunday, and I felt bad about it, but I didn't really feel bad about it. I feel like the medicine kind of it does. If the medicine is doing anything, it's preventing me from feeling bad about this stuff. But I'm still like, well, it wasn't good. I do feel like if I had an interaction like that previously, before I started taking the medicine, I would be like depressed about it and be like, oh, I'm the worst. And I did feel bad about it, and I did cry about it at the therapist, but I didn't feel like that emotion in my gut, like, oh, like sorrow of like, oh, maybe it's just part of getting older and you're like, who cares, but I didn't feel that, which I think I used to. I remember, I don't think I've ever, I have a lot of memories like this, so I probably never mentioned it, but it just reminded me of, I should probably try to talk about these things as much as possible, because I'm probably relatable to anybody watching. Like when I was in high school, we did this thing at church, like a youth meeting thing. It was called the Fire Escape. It was a pretty clever name for like fire escape, like come to church and escape hell or something. I don't know. It's a pretty good name for something. It was all the high school kids would come to church and it'd be like this cool like rock dance party. And I never went, obviously, because I didn't like that stuff. But one time I did go, and I was like, okay, I'll help set up. Like, so I have something to do, and then maybe I can hang around, like, afterwards, and there'll be people there, and maybe we'll be, like, kind of friendly when we're setting up, and I can stay. But I remember I went there to set up, and, like, there was kind of too many people there, so they didn't really need my help. Can I get that? No. So I kind of set up a little bit for an hour, and then we had pizza, and I sat by myself, kind of. I didn't talk to anybody. Like, I sat around people, but I didn't talk to them. And then the fire escape started, and I called my parents to pick me up. I remember that feeling really bad. I just felt embarrassed, like, for my parents, like, I'm sure they felt like, oh, Anthony, he's finally going to the thing. That's good, he's gonna make friends there. And it didn't happen. And then I called them, and maybe this was all in my head, but I do remember having a sense of, like, they were sad when they picked me up, like, oh, I thought you were gonna stay longer. And I was like, oh, I set up and I didn't really want to stay. And I just felt like they were sad for me. I think I was like a junior or sophomore in high school. Should I save? I'm gonna save. I don't know. I feel like I should be depressing sometimes and just be like, was that relatable? I didn't really have any experiences that weren't like that, where I went to something and like I had a bunch of friends and we were all talking and having fun. Maybe when I was like 8 and I had like a birthday party and we went bowling. That was kind of fun, but no, that was it. kind of like this boss. He's fun. He kind of moves around and you don't know where he's gonna go. You gotta follow his tail. Ow! How many times do you have to hit him? No, shoot. We're restarting. So the medicine won't let me feel bad about stuff like that. Like, yeah, so I felt really bad about that when it happened. Okay. And one other therapy thing. I was hesitant to talk about this because it's super pretentious, just like I was being yesterday, and it makes me sound like, oh, I'm this amazing person and I just want to be perfect. I do think I am a little bit of a perfectionist, but not in like the way that would make you want to hate me and be like, oh, I am perfect. Like, I'm not perfect. The way I heard recently about perfectionism is like, you won't do anything unless it's perfect. So like, I won't say anything unless it's perfect, and I won't go anywhere unless I know it's going to be perfect, and I won't do a job unless I know I can do it perfectly. So then I just never do anything. It's not like I am perfect, it's like I won't do anything unless I have this perfect perception of like, oh, this is going to be perfect. So the therapist kind of stressed me out. I came into therapy this week being like, okay, I have a plan for my job. And the therapist kind of helped me last week with therapy, and she was like, ooh, to the lost woods and get that master sword. Cool. Here's my plan. I might have mentioned this last week. I'm going to wait till August 30th, and then, because that's the last day that the IRS will send out offers. So I want that job more, but I didn't get an offer yet. So I wait till the 30th. If I don't get an offer, then I start looking for apartments in Rome, which is the job that I do have the offer for. What do I do here? No. Oh, the Master Sword. I have the Master Sword. I was like, okay, I felt good. I had a plan, and so I told her, like, oh, the first thing I said is like, oh, I have a good plan, and I feel good about that. And then she started stressing me out. She started saying like, oh, that's good, but like, have you thought about, like, are you sure you want to wait that long to look for apartments? And maybe you want to call your current job or your next job and be like, oh, can I work remotely for a little while? She started saying all these things, and I was pretty straightforward with her. I said, like, you're stressing me out. I had this plan. I came in with this plan, and now you're making me stressed. Because now I have to rethink my whole plan. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I'll do it. I don't know. She's like, therapy is a weird thing. Sometimes it doesn't feel like she's acting like a real person. She's just listening to what I say, and then she's almost being a contrarian. Because last week, when I went to therapy, I was like, oh, I'm stressed about this job stuff, and I don't know what to do. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it, just wait. And then this week, I come in, and I'm like, oh, I'm not worried about the job thing. We have a plan. And she's like, well, did you think about this? I was like, what? So that's why I just feel like I don't know, it sounds bad when I say it like that. Like she's just trying to think of something to say, and so to be, I don't know. So what she said is like, oh, well, if you're not worried, then just like don't worry about what I'm saying. But I'm like, no, come on. I can't just dismiss what you're saying. I have to, like, you said it for a reason. I have to, like, okay, like, I want to be a good person. I don't want to dismiss what you say. Like, okay, I don't want to be stubborn about this. Like, I had my plan, but if you're saying I should think about other stuff, then I should think about other stuff. So let me think Let me, like, okay, let's come up with a new plan. I don't want to be the person who's, like, stubborn. I don't want to be stubborn about it. And I feel like I can be stubborn. Like, I have my plan, and I'm not going to change it at all. I don't want to be that person. Is this the master sword? No. Yeah. Did you matter? No. Is this it? No. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop. I gotta get a better armor or something. That's not right. I want to be willing to take in, like, new information. But the therapist is always just like, well, just do whatever you want to do. It was just frustrating. And then we spent like a half an hour talking about this, and then at the end, we kind of ended up at the same place. But I was fine with that. Like, I want to talk things through. It is just her attitude of, like... And I know I was pretty straightforward about it. Like, you're stressing me out, and... Like, I have my plan. Do you really want me to change it? It is, but her attitude of, like, can be a little frustrating when she's just like, don't do whatever you want to do. I don't know what I want to do. Tell me what to do. I know that's bad. She can't tell me what to do. I got that message on. Cool. Please, Aunt. Oh, look, it's like blue. I don't know. I feel like I haven't done a good job talking about this week. Sanctuary. Aye. That was good timing. I think that's it for today. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't. Oh, tomorrow I gotta talk about the freaking Reddit thing. Should I do it or should I not do it? I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. My sanctuary. Okay. Tomorrow I'll do the sanctuary thing. Cool. Yep. Thanks. Sorry if I'm doing a bad job. I was watching the videos from last week, the past couple weeks. I was feeling kind of good about them. Like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Maybe they're not. I always go back and forth. Constantly. The pendulum is tiring. That's what the therapist wants. She wants me to stop going back and forth. Like, oh, this is good, and this is bad, and this is good, and this is bad. It's stressful, and it's tiring, and it's relentless, but... Isn't that life? I don't know. Too long. See you tomorrow.